is a super duper hard to get guy, but ever since I met Michael, he is really the guru behind social media, and can't wait to hear what he has to say. Over to you. Over to you. Okay.
All right, thank you, Irene. Let me just share my slide.
Yeah.
Let me know if you can see it, right?
Okay. Coming up.
Good.
Yes. Jolly good.
Right. Thank you, thank you. Guys, thanks so much for spending the time with us today. I'm going to start off with talking about social media. But before that, why me? And this job which I am in ZPO, is my 13th job in the career that spans about 30 years. But in the last 12 years, the bulk of the job, about 8 of them, at least 7 of them I found through social media. And given the situation that we are currently in today, and the changes, the transformation that's happening in the market, social media can really help you by helping you not just look for jobs, but helping you expand beyond your job search.
Okay, Michael,
yeah.
I think there's a comment on the chat that they are hearing a little bit of echo. Are you able to come nearer to the comm and maybe take out your earpiece, or I can't even see. Please take out your ears. No.
Yeah, take out your ears and put on the screen. Okay, I don't know. Can you hear that clearly now?
Can you come nearer? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost kissing the camera now.
Yeah, I don't know why there's some little bit of like echoey thingy. Yeah.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah, I think it's maybe better now.
Maybe better. Okay, I'll try to speak a little bit slower. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will start off with seeing what is actually social media and why that's important to you, right? Okay. Okay, social media is actually, in today's context, is actually just a virtual space for which you can share your ideas, share information. It's expression through your community, your network that you have established. Now, this sense of connectedness is important because that will allow you to reach out to people, to corporates, to your peers in different countries. And through this digital means, actually the whole world has really shrunk. Okay, physically it has not shrunk, but from a communication perspective, it's much smaller now. It's not impossible for you today through social media within seconds to reach from where you're sitting into your audience or your potential employers in places like United States. We could be 12 hours behind us. So this is important. Eileen, could I ask you to show the very first poll? Eileen, I think you're on mute.
Yep, I was just launching the poll. Yep.
All right, thanks. Okay, can you please help me with this? I want to.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. Do you use social media only for personal, or do you use it for professional work? And the choices there is I use for personal, which is the first one. Second one is for professional work. I use both for personal and professional work. And last choice is I do not use social media at all. So I think we've got quite over 60% have responded already. Are there more? I can always, do you want me to close like 65%?
Yeah, you can close it right now.
Okay, so then I'm sharing the results so everybody can see. There you go.
This is interesting because you know why? Because when we talk about social media, I mean, at least all of you here, I think there are about 50 of you here, would have at least used social media at least once a day. Many of you might be using it more than 10, 20 times a day, even without knowingly doing so, right? And this is important because that goes to show the reach of social media. So if I'm going to now go to my next slide to show you what I mean. Now, if you look at the social media network which the most users which was last updated in 2020 October. Okay, so we have Facebook, we have YouTube. WhatsApp is a social media, right? Many people would say no, but it is actually a social media because you are reaching out not just to your personal friend, but also you're reaching out to your business associates, your colleagues, as well as groups of people who share the same interests. Likewise, Facebook Messenger have the same function. WeChat again is a China-based kind of chatting services. Instagram, TikTok, etc. Now, what's interesting on this slide is this: you notice that out of the 10, 5 are from the United States, which is not a surprise. But 5 is in China, right? These are the country of origin. Why? Well, with the world economy today, there are a few giants, but these are the two. This one big giant in the United States, and the other one is these are the big giant China. There's a lot of business opportunity there in China that, in order to reach there, you have to use these social media platforms that they are familiar with. So this is important, and this is something that you may want to look at when you're actually looking at social media. Can I ask Ali to run the scan poll?
Here we go. Second poll. Which social media platform is most appropriate for use at work? Yeah. Yep. Okay, we've got all right, 60% have responded. All right. LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok, WeChat. Very interesting. Right.
All right.
60%.
Right,
I'm gonna stop the
Yep.
poll. Yeah, and share the results. Ta-da!
Fantastic. Okay, wow, I mean, to no surprises, LinkedIn is of course perceived and will be the ideal platform to reach out for purpose of work. WhatsApp, there's WhatsApp today, there's WhatsApp for personal use, and there's WhatsApp for business. Again, not surprisingly there, people are using WhatsApp for use as well. Okay, what's surprising is that nobody said that, Facebook, TikTok, WeChat is a form of is a platform that is suitable to use for work. You'll be very surprised as I go through my slides. I'll explain to you why you as an individual through your extension in this social media, it's got something to do with what you do at work. All right, I need to close this poll right now. Going to the next slide. The reason why I say that is this. Okay, so for a corporate, right? When they look at your when they go into a social media, there are few key objectives. Of course, they can use it internally. Firstly, as a 24/7, anytime accessible town hall or information portal for their employees. That's one use of it. A lot of companies also now use those social media capabilities as a platform to provide trainings to the organization. But again, a lot of these corporates are also using social media, not just to advertise for jobs. If they have a vacancy, there are many ways of doing it, but LinkedIn and a few others are the main way of which companies are advertising those vacancies today. Secondly, it's not about them only opening up a job where they have a vacancy. They also actively go in there to look for talents. These talents might be an area that they are looking to fill, but these roles are not advertised. Well, again, they use social media to look through that. And when we talk about social media, again, I emphasize not necessarily just LinkedIn, some YouTube as well, some Instagram, all this, because these social media capabilities have a way of helping the individuals showcase specific skill sets and how you actually present yourself, either written or visual in a video, helps bring up your personality and display your mentality to prospective employer. And you won't be too surprised is that if you go for an interview and you have been kind of been shortlisted and they are just about to give you your letter of offer, wouldn't be too surprised if those employers will actively go into searching your personal social media platform to find out more about you. Are you what you said you are? Do you really, when you have been chirpy, you have been cheerful, you have been positive in the interviewing process, are you really that case when it comes to social media? Because in those social media platforms that I've been there, many times candidates are their true self, right? So moving on. So if this is the case, so what do you need to do now? Social media is nothing more than just a tool, right? But it's a very powerful tool. With this tool, any individuals with access to the internet, you can leverage on it. And if you leverage on it correctly to build your network, you would be opening up yourself to a lot of possibilities and a lot of opportunities. And this could be very rewarding, but be careful not to abuse it. And be careful that whatever you put there are facts and that they are truth, so that if you abuse it, it can potentially cause you a lot of harm, right? I think I asked you to show the third poll.
Yep, I've just launched it. Is your personal social media relevant for your professional work and job search? Wow, got some are very fast. Okay, yes, it's relevant. No, it's not. I am not sure. We can see quite a few choices already, right? Yeah, this one is interesting, I would say. Very interesting seeing the response from the crowd. Yeah. So, okay, more than 70% of you have responded. Shall I?
Yep, you can close it.
Yeah, 80% already. Woohoo!
All right.
So, all
Thank
right,
you.
share the results. Here we go.
Very interesting again, the result. You know, it is actually quite mixed, right? And in this case, being mixed, what happened is this. Actually, your personal social media is still very relevant. What is personal in this
Yeah.
case? What is personal? Facebook, is it personal? You must remember, in your Facebook settings, you can set to different degree of privacy. You can set it to family of friends, you can set it to friends of friends, and by default, it sets to the public, right? Secondly, if you look at your LinkedIn, again, well, earlier on in the earlier poll, we look at LinkedIn as being the ideal choice and medium of it being used professionally for work only, right? Again, through LinkedIn, it is again very much an extension of yourself. And then next thing we talk about WhatsApp, you know, and again, if you share a certain story through WhatsApp and that gets shared across, again, that's a reflection on you. Again, it started out personal, but as you share, as what you share and that gets cascaded downwards, it might have an impact, either positive or negative, on your professional work or your job search, which is also very important. Now, that means there are some relevance. In fact, it is relevant to the professional work. The reason being this, right? In your social media, it is useless to have a social media if you have no followers, right? So if you have a social media, you would at least have one follower, right? But I'd be very surprised if you only have one. Even students from the universities, the polytechnics, the lecturers are already started to get them to go into LinkedIn. And those students who go to LinkedIn, they already connected to each one of their friends, their friends, and we're very surprised that within a very limited period of time, they already have at least minimum 50 followers. Now, these 50 followers, they would have other followers, and those followers could eventually follow you. Now, you can also do the reverse. If you are looking for a job, say for example, you are looking for a job in my company is ZTO. What would be the first thing you want to do when you want to work in a ZTO company? Would you go to the Straits Times to flip through the papers to see whether there's a vacancy there? No, you potentially will go to a website to see whether, oh, is there any job vacancy being listed? Oh, there isn't. Does it mean that we are not hiring? No, that means that we haven't posted up that role, or we haven't thought about you filling that role. The other way you can do it, of course, is to reach out to the HR, or alternatively, reach out to the hiring manager. Now, you don't know the HR, you don't know the hiring manager, but you have a social media platform. You can then start hunting as to who could potentially be your hiring manager, who potentially could be the HR of the respective firm. Connect to that person. Once you connect to that person, ask them, hey, I'm actually very interested in ZTO as a potential employer. Do you happen to have vacancies? These are my skill set. Go in there, connect. Follow those people. Even if the person tells you, no, I do not have them right now, follow them. Because who knows, in the upswing of the economy in the next 6 months, their vacancies might be open up. And you are following those person, he might be advertising those roles, or his company might be advertising those roles. That is opportunity that shouldn't miss.
I think, Michael, follow is the keyword, but not stalk lah.
Yeah, not stalk. Hunt. Okay. So again, these are all the things you can do, and it opens up a lot of opportunity. I'll go a little bit more details in this in the following slides. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of me, right? So, like Sanil, I started out in banking about 30 years ago. So I have close to about 15 to 17 years of banking experience. From banking, also like very much like Samuel, I left to join a technology company. And I was there for a number of years as well before I went back to banking. And from there, I kind of became a lecturer to lecture about supply chain management. Totally nothing to do with banking. But why? Because it just so happened that from supply chain perspective, we are lagging behind in terms of banking, from technology, from processes. And just so happened that my skill sets, which I've picked up in the years that I had in technology and banking, helped me fit into that role, which is just started to transform. Okay, and from there, I first bought my very first thing online about 12, 13 years back. What was it? You know, before all these illegal pirated videos downloading become the trend, you have to, when you want to watch a movie, either you go to the cinema or you purchase a DVD to watch it. Okay, so at the time, Singapore cinema is very slow in bringing in those new movies. The only way to do it is actually to purchase the DVDs. And again, the shops in Singapore bring those DVD in really slowly. So the only way to do it is actually to purchase these online from overseas. And that was how I got, I first started with e-commerce. Wow, that kind of opened up my eye, because at the time, there was this mail order business. You remember when you were very young, those of you who were very young here, if you flip into those magazines, and at some point in time, you flip into one that says, oh, sea monkeys. I'm not sure if you can remember that, right? Sea monkeys, yeah. Oh, they're a very fascinating creature. You just put them in the water, you see them come alive, and to order them, you fill in a form, you put in your check payment or your whatever payment that there was no internet banking at the time. You send that by post overseas. a few weeks or few months later, you receive in the post an envelope with a powder of eggs that you start doing that. No, that was the very first type of e-commerce or mail commerce. Now, talking about e-commerce, the letter E is very important, right? So this E, which all the electronics which I've learned in banking, is now applied to trades, actual buying and selling of items. It got me very fascinated. So I'm still very passionate about it because I've used it. I've seen that it actually work, and I actually actively use one of my social media network to dive very deeply into it. I was among the first, perhaps 10,000 users when LinkedIn came up. That was within weeks of it coming up. I was one of the first users, and as it builds across the years, I found that in order for me to represent myself virtually or digitally, the only way I can do it is a number of ways. Number one, set up my own website with an electronic CV. Well, that can still be done, right? Alternatively, I can participate in a platform that promotes me as an individual, that showcase my values, showcase my successes, showcase my belief. That's when I started using social media, talking about e-commerce. And through that, actually what subsequently happened is that, one of the technology company, a startup, saw my LinkedIn profile, actually called me. And I actually had joined that company as a co-founder to build this e-commerce platform that they had. It was very small. Lazada and Q10 had just started, and this was where we believe that the gap there in terms of you might have bought something, but how do we get that thing to you? How do we actually get that thing fulfilled? So we built that platform to connect to Lazada to get that done out to you guys, the buyers. But that was small at the time. It was small. So from that on, it got me thinking, that was just for Singapore. What if we can do this for ASEAN? Then I become a lot more interested in how do we help the Singapore economy extend beyond just one local company. So I work very hard with the Singapore government agency, even today, to make Singapore into a hub, right? Again, in order for me to do this, I'm really passionate about it. I want to make sure that what I say, what I demonstrate online, not only from my LinkedIn, I also have created videos around this. I also contribute a lot in terms of creating Facebook for other companies, managing those social media to make sure that I reach my goal of making Singapore as a hub. So from that, it moves on, right? So again, if you are going to be in the social media, you need to make sure that you show people who you are, show your positivity. One example, which I'm showing up here, is actually this gentleman here, right? If you look at his Instagram page, you notice that, actually, he knows he was overweight. He knows that he is not that good looking, right? But he wants to do something about it. And he chronicles, he records down the steps and the process which he lost weight. And that gains him a lot of respect. If you are an employer and he is your candidate, and you happen to go to his Instagram page, you look at that. Do you as an employer, prospective employer, not see that, hey, this guy is very driven. He has an objective. He works toward that objective. He knows what he wants to do, and he knows the step which he wants to do, get to do that. And regardless the number of ridicule that he might have received for being fat, he is now a success story. That translates into a very positive outlook for you when you are actually applying for a job. And remember, employers are watching. Next thing, of course, as I mentioned earlier on, is that you will have use what we call followers. Okay, on the left-hand side is my personal connection. So as I mentioned, I've used LinkedIn for quite a while, and actually I have close to about 10,000 connections now. Granted, 2/3 of those 10,000 are probably not going to be very useful. 1/3 may be somewhat useful, right? And again, in that 1/3 that's somewhat useful, which is about 3,000, perhaps another 1/3 of it is directly related to what you are trying to achieve. Zoom in on that 1/3. What can you do to leverage on the 1/3 person? If you need help, or if anyone with 10,000 people needs advice, needs comments, needs suggestions, if it is within you and your capability to do that, do so. Again, connecting to the right people can open a lot of doors for you. But the idea is this: you may not, let's say today you want to connect to Eileen, but you don't have her in your connection. But you know me, right? For example, and I know Eileen. You can connect to me requesting a reference to go to Eileen. Why would I say no? Right? That's how you make that connection. Now, do not be shy to showcase your successes online. It's not about boasting. It's facts. Make sure you show your successes online, because eventually what you put out there is extensions on your CV. It's not your only CV, but it's extension of your CV. So be aware. Next thing, like Samuel and Kassim earlier mentioned, you can't work alone, just survive and work alone. So you have many hobbies, and I am addicted to having too many hobbies. So from photography, I think I don't know, and then I do a lot of videography. I even bake cakes, and I am also an ice cream chef. And my kids actually hate it, because whenever they go to try something new and they say, oh, it's nice, then I'll say, oh, I'll try to make it. And they'll say, oh, no. Right? So that's me. But why I'm sharing that with you is that you can turn those hobbies into something very positive. This gentleman on the left, I am still very much into video production, video editing. This gentleman on the left, his name is Ted. He's Ted Sim. Okay, he actually worked for this company called Aperture, Aputure. Actually, this Aperture is a Chinese company. All right, as a Chinese company producing, if you see here on the right-hand side here, this device is what we use in video production. It's called a video light. Now, when you think of a Chinese company, you always say that it's the worst quality product, it's not worth looking at it. But this guy started with this company. He's not even a co-founder. He started working with this company some years back. What's with him is that when he got into role with business development, he was very passionate. He started out creating video contents on how to use these video lights. And then he goes on to teach people how to achieve certain effect on those lights. Of course, subsequently, he got promoted along the rank, and of course, along the way, he diverged into different areas, into his own production house, etc. But he also has his own personal page, where very much like what we use in LinkedIn, he has his own website. And that is where, actually, if you look at some of the comments that he had about him, that person in the one article said that he's so positive, it's contagious. He must love his job. And that is from the outsider. So when I used to work for this other company, or I was a co-founder in this company, I invested that amount of time, that amount of money there. But when I was at that warehouse, and telling people about the warehouse, telling people about the software that support the warehouse. A few of them came to me and said, are you the majority shareholder of this warehouse? Because you have so much energy and all those things. No, but it's how you actually put forth to the front of those people that showcase your good work that you're doing, not only for yourself, but for your employers. Remember, whatever happens today will impact you positively tomorrow, because your next employer may be watching you. Now, a little bit about how do you reach out to people, right? You want to reach out to people in a way that, whatever you say on your social media, it is relatable in a very positive way to that community which you are very interested to enter. Okay. You want to reach out to people because you all share a common idea, a common message that you want to communicate out there. You do this, you get a lot of support from a network of individuals. One example is this. I'm in this group called Global Supply Chain, right? And in this group, there's 26,000 members, and that's only for just Singapore. I'm also involved in the bigger group. There's hundreds of thousands of members in there. Now, this group of members in that group help each other. Whenever we had a COVID-19 situation, we don't know what to do. Where today, you know that we have no flight, or very little flight coming in and out of Singapore. We have a problem getting cargo in and out. This is how we leverage on that, right? Okay, then the one on the right, this guy called Kanan. Kanan, I do not know Kanan, but Kanan contacted me again through social media, in this case LinkedIn, asking for my connection. If you notice Kanan, he has 198 connections. What is Kanan doing? Kanan is a founder of what we call a 7K Transport and Logistics. Kanan currently owns one lorry. He drives his own lorry. But he reached out to me asking me if I have opportunities for him to help me in my e-commerce delivery. He has no technology. He's trying to buy one. And for me, Kanan is one of the person whom I will contact because of him reaching out to me. Same likewise for you guys, right? Again, like I said, it's important for you to actually be aware as to all these things. And then in order for you to reach out to people, maybe you want to ask some questions that will help you. Like this gentleman on the right, asking me what are the tools which I'm using for inventory planning, and do you know what's positive, negative? He's not trying to sell me something. He's trying to help me understand my situation. Moving on. Okay, COVID-19, new normal. Two big words today, right? So what is post-COVID going to look like for you? Digital is going to be very important for you. It is quite unlikely that you will be able to walk into a place and asking for a job. It is quite unlikely that you will be sitting face-to-face to an interviewer, having the interview. It is also it makes a lot more sense and opportunity for you to look for your business, look for your opportunity, mind that through a digital space. You will find the most opportunities when you are connected to a bigger network. Okay, again, I emphasize the world has shrunk. Today, you need not be in London to work in a London company, right? This is how things are going to be post this. I think I asked you to do the fourth poll.
Yep, it's out. I just realized that for those of you, if you need to leave, I've dropped the feedback on the chat. But I must say that if you do stay on, then we are here definitely, and I think there's a lot of nuggets of gold here that Michael is sharing with us. I've also looked at the questions. There's I don't think there's a lot of questions there, and I've tried to answer the two questions there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And then, given the essence of time, I think you can stop the poll. I think it's unanimous. If this poll
it's
will go,
unanimous, yes.
so
It
everybody
is.
is now agreeing, social media is going to play a much more important role going forward.
In
Okay.
fact, there's a question though, Michael. Someone asked the question, what about Telegram? What's your take on it? Is it gonna grow? Here to
Of course.
stay? Of course,
Okay. WhatsApp is facing that challenge of your data being shared with Facebook,
Oh yeah, I
right?
switched to Signal also.
Signal and Telegram has less of that potential issue. Signal potentially less of that issue. So a lot of these new digital platform will continue to gain traction. Hopefully that answers the question. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Okay, so what do you need to do to get yourself noticed? The first thing is that in the digital world, you react quickly to the new. Don't wait till it comes as a tsunami to hit you. Because when the tsunami hit you, when you are unaware, you would be in deep trouble. Second thing, no matter what your age, your language, your education background, always be open to new ideas and opportunities. If that person in the market can sell fishes online, why can't you do the same? I'm not asking you to sell fish, but it's a possibility that you can sell yourself digitally online. And many often you'll find that you'll be forced to try to fit a cube into a round hole. While there are many ways around it, can you cut the hole a little bit bigger? If you can't cut the hole, what can you do? So think beyond the norm, think out of the box. Always continuously apply the knowledge on the job. I mentioned that earlier on that I also make ice cream. The lessons which I learned when I'm making ice cream is very important in applying for my job or applying to the job, right? Because when you're making ice cream, there is a process that you follow. The exact timing, the exact ingredient where you should put, in what sequence, and what must you do, and what kind of environment. That totally applies to what I'm doing today for ZTO. Lastly, connect to as many people as you want to. I think these are the list of people whom you want to know. They may be very far away. There may be 2-3 different connections away. Start today, not later. Again, when you are doing this, it's not about you taking advantage or drawing from people. It's also about you contributing, and that's important. So, coming back to Eileen's earlier question about ZTO. Okay, so ZTO is actually, we are one of the biggest, in fact, second or third in China itself, where we are enabling the e-commerce in the Asia Pacific market. In fact, I think out of the, how many people we have here, 42 or 50 earlier on, at least half of you would have bought things from Lazada before. We are the partners to deliver that. Now, what's interesting is this, right? I mean, what do you think is the weirdest thing that you will ever order online?
Weirdest thing to order online?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Can't think of it, no?
All right. So for all of you who are here,
Yeah. What?
okay, for all of you who are here later, go to Lazada or go to Taobao, key in the word coffin.
Oh.
And people actually do order coffin online.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Okay. As far as I know, there have been people who ordered it.
Right.
I'm very curious because these orders will definitely come through our warehouse. I'm very curious to see what the delivery look like. But before that comes in, the weirdest thing that we actually receive is that there are a lot of people in Singapore that order car bonnet, car hood, car bumpers online. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, what I can say is it's becoming, the e-commerce world has made it so accessible to consumers. So, so these days people have a choice to go direct.
Choice, right?
Yeah, have a choice to go direct. So it's I believe people have been ordering various stuff, but it's just not visible to us, right? Yeah.
Correct. And I want to end with that. You see, so now that you are looking at e-commerce, I want to share with you my passion is that you can order the strangest of things from internet, right? But the most important thing is that when you order all these things from internet, it gets delivered to you. Um, Logistics is probably a career that you might want to look at. I'm not just selling this for ZTO across Singapore. I think the government has also put in a lot of effort to attract talents into this area. If you guys are now looking for a possibility in the logistic world, do reach out to Eileen, do reach out to WDA or whoever, WSG. I'm sure they can link you up to the necessary people in logistics. With that, all the best. Take care and speak soon. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really am very appreciative that you are doing this at the warehouse where you are, and then finding internet connection and all that. Okay.